Hey, frenemies, I'm so sorry I'm not able to be there live in studio and be a part of this conversation. You know, when you're in the fantasy playoffs, you just got so much on your plate. It's hard to make time for things like this. But I seriously do want to thank Chris and Sean for being so faithful with this Frenemies podcast. I remember when we started it a year ago, I couldn't believe how much I loved it. And it's still, you can ask Chris, it's a part of my weekly routine. Every Thursday morning as I drive into work, this is what I listen to. I listen to the 757 show first, and then I listen to the big podcast show for everyone else right after, and it's just a joy to listen to. I also want to thank Chris for giving Leroyce the advice to sit Austin Eckler. That was fantastic advice for me this week. I could not have won this week without you, so thank you for doing that. And I also wanted to thank Robert Woods for deciding to score his first touchdown of the year and remembering that he's supposed to be a really good receiver. And so, you know, this is the Christmas season, and, you know, this is a time to celebrate miracles. And I really can't think of any miracle greater than me winning a playoff game while starting Sony Michel. And so I just want to thank everyone involved who helped have a part in this victory. I am terrified this week playing Christian McCaffrey. I mean, Joe, the odds are stacked against me. My matchups are horrendous. I am debating between two quarterbacks who on the ESPN ratings are not in the top 20 to start, so that bodes well for me. I basically need the Ravens defense against the Jets to score like 40 points tonight, or I have no shot. But you know, miracles are possible. And so just pass this along to Joe. Joe, if you sit your New England running back, James White, I will gladly sit my New England running back, Sony Michel. And I feel like that's a fair trade for us to consider. So again, thank you guys so much for what you guys do so faithfully to record this podcast. Thanks for the advice. And it's a great part. It's great to be in the league with you guys. And I hope you have a great offseason.
Welcome back, frenemies. Episode 60. It's a combined episode here.
Yep.
Man with the raspy voice here, Chris. To my right, the commission. And thank you, David, for that great shout-out video. He's a strong listener.
We had some kind words
week.
In there. We appreciate it, David.
And some very harsh words to me. So, Leroyce, I'm sorry. David did not pay me to tell you to bench Eckler there, but that was a turning factor on that matchup.
Yeah, so in our league, we had a matchup between Leroyce and David, and we talked about the matchup last week on our 757 podcast, and I put Chris on the spot and asked him if he would start Kareem Hunt over Eckler, because that's who he had in his flex spot there. Man. And he said, Hunt, that's my man.
I said with conviction. I was like, you'd be dumb if you don't put Hunt in here. Don't play it safe, Leroyce.
And then, spoiler alert, Leroyce lost the matchup to David thanks to not having those 30-something points on his team.
Oh, and it was a narrow victory.
Yeah, it was. Yep, he would have easily won the matchup. I mean, Kareem Hunt wasn't bad.
He wasn't bad.
He just wasn't Austin Eckler this week.
You know, if we didn't change the kicking rule.
Yeah. Hashtag ban clicker.
Yeah, Jake Elliott missed one, but we didn't subtract any points this year. We weren't looking to change that till next year. So, got you, David, there. And for you listeners that are not in the league, which might be two of you, that was Reverend David, who we always talk about on opening up the show there. So let's go to our talk of the town, news that matters. We got anything we got to hit up for injury-wise coming in for this week in fantasy?
Yeah, so I wanted to discuss the injuries. There's a lot of injuries this week. We had the Alshon injury. We can go kind of a little bit into reminiscing here.
Poor kid.
I lost to Tim this week. I made the playoffs for the first time in like 4 or 5 years.
400 years.
Something like that. It felt like that. And then it came down to an Alshon-Saquon matchup. I had to get, I think, 3 more points out of Alshon than he did Saquon. Saquon didn't play that great of a game, but Alshon pulled up limp on 4th or 5th play from the start of the game, and that's all she wrote, folks. And so Alshon's on IR. I don't know if you can start any Eagles in lieu of this. That's usually what you look to in fantasy is who can I put in.
Nope.
Aguilar's would be the option if you are really desperate, but as my co-host said, nope. I don't want any part of that.
Eagles wide receivers have been nothing but disappointment.
Yeah, and then sticking with our matchup there, he had Geis. Tim had Geis in there, and he had a knee injury. They say it's only an MCL sprain, which I'm sure for him was like the best news in the world because
it's not a tear, it's a sprain. Thank God.
But he's not going to be playing for you anytime soon. And then the other one was Devontae Parker. got a concussion. I know that killed a lot of people. I'm sorry if you had him in your lineup.
Yeah.
Joe this week, I think, has him, and he's not. We'll see if he can play, but he's got to make it through that concussion protocol. So keep an eye on that. If he's not in, same thing, hands off. I don't think I want to take a chance on a Miami Dolphins. It's a good matchup against the Giants, but I'm not taking my chance with Allen Hurns or
it's a great matchup. And
Wilson.
then Calvin Ridley went down as well.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people's wide receiver 2 in their league. So it's extremely tough. But the way the Falcons offense has been going, you can probably pick up a receiver there to put in your spot there if you need to replace him.
So today we're doing a kind of combined episode. He mentioned it earlier, but we're going to just combine the two. We're getting close to Christmas time, vacation, and I'm going to be going out of town. So we just decided to do kind of a shorter, condensed version of both and merge them together.
Yeah, it's like you're out of town. Once you're back, I'm out of town. So it's going to be really tough there.
For just looking forward for the next few weeks, we'll try to get some stuff up there, at least on social media. Probably won't be an official podcast through these next couple weeks, but I'll try to do like maybe a little video. I'm going to go to a Miami game in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll have Chris do a little something too.
Yeah, Sean does 99% of the work.
So when I leave town, this production kind of slows down.
It's done. He can do without me. You've seen like guys like Tim take my spot. I'm replaceable, but not Sean.
Yep.
Well, let's go to the party questions.
All right, let's do it.
Ian, would you like to go to a party in my pants?
Party.
No, Brick.
All right, let's go.
All right, so this week's party question, it's kind of in lieu of next week's movie coming out, a big movie if you're a Star Wars fan.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Sean is. I'm starting to watch more of the movies and some of the TV shows. Shout out to Davey Passini for making me understand the Star Wars universe a lot better. So because this is combined, we're bringing our league mates in here, and we're deciding what league mate would make the best Jedi.
All right.
The best Jedi. And I got a creative answer here.
All right.
I got Ryan. Yes, Ryan Meckes.
Okay.
A.K.A. Anakin Skywalker.
I can see that.
Ryan would be so frustrated with the Force and getting whatever he needs to get done. He's the quickest to turn to the dark side. Like, before he finishes Jedi school, he'll be in the dark side, and then he starts his own trilogy as somebody tries to defeat him and take him down.
Yeah.
And
So you're basically calling him Darth Vader.
Yeah, because, he could be.
He could be
a Sith Lord or something, because he's done all that Taekwondo stuff or whatever.
Yep.
Was that what he did?
No.
Taekwondo, no.
Jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu, and all that. And
he won't listen to this.
He's learned. I know, right? He's on our show. We never listen to this, but he's learned another language. Like he'll put effort into stuff.
Yeah, I could see him being that. Like he could dedicate his life to being a Jedi.
Oh, he would do it.
Yeah.
But then I just think it just the dark side would be so deep in him.
Yeah.
He would be so unsettled that yes, he would be Darth Vader without the cool breathing. Mm-hmm. I don't know. In combat, it'd be kind of cool. I mean, I don't know if he can run away. If you guys go back to our kicking thing, you can see him run. I don't think he can run really well. But yeah, I see Ryan as the dark side guy. I was like thinking it through, and that's immediately what I thought of. Dark side, Ryan, still a Jedi, turned to the dark side. But Sean, who do you got? Who do you have?
All right, so I'm actually going to go with you, Chris.
Yes,
you can be a Jedi.
I can.
So my frame of thinking with this was like, who's the most like Zen in our league? Who can just let everything roll off of them? They don't really take too much to heart, because I feel like that's kind of the Jedi way, and so I could definitely see Chris being that guy.
Yeah, you got to take emotions out of it.
Yep, that's true.
That's true.
Could you leave your family?
I could go leave my dog behind. Go somewhere.
I mean, you'd do anything to hold
desolate island.
If you could wield the lightsaber, I think we'd all do a lot of things.
Yeah, I can wield it. I'd probably be the guy that dropped the lightsaber on myself. Like,
Maybe I've made a bad decision here.
Who knows? But I get the Zen thing. Yeah, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to get me rolling. Me and Ryan would be definitely opposites.
Got that military training, so I know you can go through the training process it would take. So.
Yes, I've been, smashed down to feeling like dirt, and come through with that. So yeah, thanks. I'll be the Jedi there. It'd be awesome. I can wear the robe going in there. All right,
and we're going to, instead of doing like our normal starts and sits of the week here, we're going to just kind of go over the matchups with our league mates, and they've got obviously a full roster worth of players, so hopefully that'll help you people at home that aren't part of our league and maybe hear what some of our thoughts are. So let's go ahead and just jump right into these matchups. We'll start with David and Joe. Actually, I want to make a little comment on the seeding thing. So it's been kind of weird because I've always thought about it when you have a playoff. We've been a 4-team playoff, so we haven't had to worry about this issue. But when you have the first round go by, you have obviously the people that had bye weeks, and then they have to play someone. And in the NFL, you play the lower seed. For some reason, Sleepers set it up as a bracketing system so that, no matter who won of me and Tim, that person was going to play Phil.
Yeah.
I don't think we can change it at this point. I mean, if the league wants to, unanimously vote this, then I'm willing to change it. But I think we got to stick with what we got this year. And then in the offseason, I would be in favor of redoing the matchups once the seeding is set for that next round.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody should have an issue with it, especially since, like you said, it's a model pattern after the NFL playoffs.
Yeah.
Just giving more of the benefit to the number 1 seed.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
the better matchup coming in. But unless someone drastically changes it before you head on a cruise,
Yep.
we're going to keep it where it's at.
Yep.
So that first matchup, David and Joe, this would be a lot of fun. It's David against Christian McCaffrey. That's basically what it is.
It's David versus Goliath. Why didn't we come up with this as the
That should have been the title for the show.
This is live on the air. We're
yeah.
coming up with these things.
We did not think
Only
that
get
through.
quality stuff like that here. So. Yeah, David versus Goliath. That's kind of what you see. And Goliath is Christian McCaffrey. I don't know if you heard in the shout out there. He's playing the Christian McCaffreys because that is a big part of Joe's team. Right now, Sleepers got it set as a 70% chance that Joe wins, which in these playoffs, that's been the largest margin there. So,
I mean, you look at it here, the quarterbacks are hilarious.
yeah.
Honestly,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I had dinner with Joe a couple of nights ago, just guys hanging out there, and he brought up his future look at streaming QBs. That's how much Joe put thought in this. It was like 2 or 3 weeks out of it, and he was thinking, I'm going to pick up Fitzpatrick here. I'm going to pick up so-and-so here because look at the matchups in the playoffs. That's somebody that was ready for playoff
Yep.
run.
I
And
know he
so-
stole Fitzpatrick from me, but although last week it didn't turn out so well.
No, it didn't. But it's got Fitzpatrick with the great matchup against the Giants. And then over on the other side, it's not looking so great with Mitch Trubisky or Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Who would you tell David to put in that quarterback spot?
So it's gross, but
so
I would
gross.
play Matt Ryan. I don't know. I can't quit this guy. He's got Julio Jones. Now, we did lose Calvin Ridley, and that's going to hurt a little bit. He's playing San Francisco, who, on the surface, we all see as this amazing defense, and you don't want to play your plays against him. But if anyone watched last week, there was a lot of points scored in that Saints-49ers game, and
Yes.
it's kind of been the trend. That defense has gotten figured out a little bit, I think. It's really their front four that's the power. It's not, their secondary is not that special. Richard Sherman is actually injured, so he may not be out there on Sunday. So with all of that, I think I would go Matt Ryan, and the other quarterback is Mitch Trubisky, so I don't think I need to argue at all why I wouldn't go with Mitch Trubisky. Although last week he had his probably game of the year there.
A great game there. And
The rushing total may be what saves him. I don't know. I'm too afraid of, him imploding. I think there's way higher of a possibility of that happening against Green Bay. It's going to be, that's the other thing too. It's going to be apparently like 11 degrees at game time. So I could see offensive production going way down in this game. Now, I do have a third option for you here, David. Ooh. I don't know if you're feeling, spicy enough to do this, but
he's a spicy man.
spicy man. But I think it'd be fun. You might as well just go mano-a-mano with him. Fitzpatrick's playing the Giants. Eli Manning, I mean, it's gross, but
it's against Miami.
It's against the Miami Dolphins.
Our favorite number 1 fantasy rule there.
Yeah, play everyone against the Dolphins. And I just think that this, is just much like the Jets last week. It was going to be more of a higher scoring. That one disappointed a little bit. Weather kind of played a little bit into it. But as long as weather's good, I don't know if I'd play him over Matt Ryan. That's something that would be hard for me to do. I probably would still play Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
But if you are really afraid of Matt Ryan, I honestly like Eli over Mitch Trubisky this week. What about you? What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, going with the Matt Ryan thing. Trubisky just makes my stomach turn. So, but it's tough. But great point with the weather.
Yeah.
11 degrees in there. And, Aaron Rodgers used to it. Yes, Chicago's used to it as well, but not Trubisky. He hasn't
just
thrown well.
Games that are played under 20-something degrees usually don't show a huge offensive prolific. Like, it just doesn't happen.
Right. So we go in the running back matchup here. I was talking with David today, and he is benched Sony Michel.
Okay.
So it's really Ezekiel Elliott versus the crazy depth of McCaffrey and Ingram, who plays right now, recorded on Thursday, plays tonight.
Yeah.
So that's all just you can't win the running back matchup, David. That's all to Joe there.
Yeah.
But then the wide receivers where you can make it up. If Devontae Adams can just figure out how
It's
to
that same game, though. I'm afraid of that cold.
get back to something. Yeah, in the cold. It was a snowy weather in New York where we had pretty good game about 2 weeks ago. But again, the real field temp wasn't as cold as it will be in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Robert Woods could quietly keep going up and back to where we all thought he would be at the beginning of the year.
It's crazy to think if you just took it based on this first half of the year, you would think he's been a terrible fantasy player. But over the last 5 weeks, I think he's been pretty fantastic.
Yeah. You got Keenan Allen. He's going against the Vikings, which Vikings could be suspect at it. I was at the game against Detroit there, and Goliath
Benched Rhodes, didn't they?
They did for a series, and they
Yeah.
rotated him back in and out. Like,
So he was in there at some. I just saw the first series. He was on the sideline, and I was like,
They did a rotation.
way to go, Zimmer, because it's been bad.
It's been bad, and Rhodes kind of fessed up to it. And, well, not he. I mean, he said, "Yeah, I sucked," so he didn't really go
Little
off
wake-up
of
call.
there. But the big thing is, I think the tight end here, Darren Waller, is still not to be found after week 8.
Yeah.
And Hunter Henry is coming back, but the Vikings give like the second least amount of points to a tight end
Yeah.
because our safeties. Well, I say are. I'm a Viking fan. The safeties for the Minnesota Vikings and linebackers are really good. So that's not going in there. Tyler Boyd against James White. So that's a cool matchup because it's in a game.
Yep.
They're about don't know how to.
One of them
there.
has got a good matchup, and one of them doesn't.
Yeah, James White definitely has a better matchup there, but.
So it doesn't matter if you want to play Eli Manning. I've just now scrolled down to Eli Manning is on Joe's bench. So sorry, David, that didn't happen.
Oh, dang. He was looking at both of those.
Yeah, he's got Josh Allen, Eli Manning, and Fitzpatrick. He's hoarding all the quarterbacks here.
Dude, yeah, that's
And he's got an extra defense in the 49ers.
Shoot, he's got Devontae.
All right, so let's talk about that. He's going to have to make a decision between the Chiefs against Denver and the 49ers versus Atlanta. And that decision to me is easy. I would put in the 49ers. He's probably going to do that. I think he picked him up off of waivers. And David dropped him.
Dropped him. That's
that would
the cool
be,
part. Come back and bite David.
Oh, no, David.
But I like David keeping the Ravens for the Jets, and he's just needed a drop to add someone as a quarterback there. And yeah, the Ravens have great matchups toward the end.
Yeah.
And their defense is there. But it's going to be fun to see if San Francisco goes back to their old ways.
All right.
Last week.
So I think it's pretty set for Joe. He's got his starting lineup. It's not going to be a hard thing to decide. David's got a lot more question marks. So let's just talk a little bit about the running back position here with Jamal Williams, because that's, I think, where his weakest point of the team.
He's starting a running back 2 when he's got 2 running back 1s on his bench in Carlos Hyde and Sony Michel. Sony Michel is going against Cincinnati. And as David reminded me again this morning, like Sony had like 5 carries last week and then did not see the field.
I know.
So you can't trust that. Carlos Hyde, it depends. If they're up, he's getting the runs.
Yep.
And it's going against Tennessee, who is completely resurging right now.
Yeah, I know. Thanks to Ryan Tannehill.
Yes.
Way to go, Dolphins.
Yeah, and Houston can't figure out how to keep a team down or how to come from behind after they beat New England.
Yep.
But as we saw in New England in the last couple of weeks, they just can't get out of nowhere. They're filming Cincinnati. They're putting a fake film crew on the Bengals.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. What the heck?
I completely believe it's because it's the Bengals who are 1-12. Why do you need to get their signals? I don't think they need it. So I think it's just a stupid clearance thing that they were doing for their online series, Do Your Job, and it just looked like they were taking signals because I don't know why you need to have the Bengals sideline filmed for a whole quarter for a Do Your Job segment. So that's still weird to me.
I don't know. I'm a skeptical Dolphins fan that, this is pretty much the same excuse they had for Spygate with the Jets. Like, oh, this is part of Kraft's production. Well, to say that the big thing I don't like is Belichick coming out and being like, oh, I have no knowledge of that or anything. But you would still be let in the loop about this going on.
Well, it's a production team that was contracted, so it wasn't even coaching like interns or anyone. So that is somewhat believable. They did get the okay from Cleveland. They told Cleveland, who was the home team, that we're going to put a crew up there. It just, the one part that doesn't make sense is why is the camera fixed there? And the NFL's got the tape. They gave it to them, so I'm thinking, okay, they gave it up there.
I mean, my thing is you don't get the benefit of the doubt anymore. That's the thing.
No,
they've done it enough times.
Caught too many times
that
with the hand in the cookie jar. You're guilty.
And like you said, I don't know why they're doing it.
I don't know
It's
either.
the freaking Bengals.
Oh, man.
They probably just were doing it to everybody, and then they were, this is the one they got caught on. But
We go back to the running back thing. I see a dark horse on David's bench.
okay, what's your dark horse?
Scott.
Oh boy,
Bart
that's
Scott.
a dark, deep dark.
Dark. I know why you picked him up. He went off.
I mean, I watched him destroy my hopes and dreams in another fantasy league when I had Miles Sanders and needed him to get like 5 more points, and freaking Bart Scott's out there.
I was so confused watching that game. I was like, why isn't Miles Sanders getting these touches?
Yeah.
It wasn't there. So he's got another deep dark horse in there, but he's rolling with Williams in that running back 2 slot. But I called you right. Dang, sorry. Sean would go with Carlos Hyde instead.
So to me, it's between Carlos Hyde and Michelle. I know it's hard to picture yourself putting that disgusting thing back in your lineup. Like Michelle has just ruined anything you've tried to do. I mean, I understand that it's hard to do, but it's Cincinnati. And I just think there's a really good possibility that they trounce them, and then you have Sony Michel doing mop-up duty.
And a touchdown.
Yeah.
She get a vulture touchdown.
He just needs a touchdown. And they're probably going to score a lot of them in this game.
Yes. So this is my good advice that might turn bad, but I would put Sony Michel at RB2 with the matchup. Play the matchup this week.
I kind of agree with you. I would go... I mean, to me, Jamal Williams might be a safer one because you might get some PPR points, and he's not going to kill you. He'll probably get 5 points as a floor. But I think you need to swing for the fences in this against Joe.
Oh, yeah, you're a big underdog in this.
The Goliath. Yes. And I just think Michelle is... There's a possibility, like he's done once this year, that he has a 3-touchdown game, and you win your week because you put Sony Michel in.
All right, David.
But don't hold us responsible.
Hold me responsible.
Oh, boy.
So much me
fall apart
banging the table. That's how much conviction I have, David. If I guarantee 2 touchdowns for Sony Michel this week,
okay,
guarantee.
Well, and you know what that means because he guaranteed that Austin Eckler would not be as good as Kareem Hunt.
Unlike with Leroy's, if I'm wrong, I'll buy you lunch. All right, so a ring, a title, or lunch with me.
All right, well, let's move on. We've done enough on that.
That was a lot on that one.
Yeah. Sorry, we don't got any time left for you and for Tim and Phil here.
Tim, you're good.
All right, so they actually have a closer matchup here. It's 57%. Actually, that the underdog Tim is set to win this. That's the first time I'm seeing that.
Wow.
So we'll start it off at the top here. The quarterbacks, Breeze versus Winston. There's the whole Winston hand thing. That's something we didn't talk about in the news, but he's got a fractured hand, I think. It looks like they think he's going to be able to play through it without damaging it, but it's still scary.
It is scary.
I would be a little scared.
Something with his thumb. They throw enough, and it seems like his overall point production doesn't hurt you when he throws interceptions.
He also lost Mike Evans. That's another facet to this. And then Phil's got to make the decision between Drew Brees and Russell Wilson, which he has had to do every week.
I don't know how you can live with yourself when you have to decide between that.
I think I'd go Brees.
Yeah, I'd stay with Brees.
Wilson can definitely blow up, but it's just he's been bad lately.
But it's against Carolina.
It's true.
One of the worst defenses in the league.
It's true, but I don't think Carolina's going to score many points. So
it's a run day.
I don't think Russell's going to need to. I think what's going to happen is their rush defense is so bad that Chris Carson's going to have freaking 40 fantasy points this week or something.
That's true.
He's just going to go off.
All right, so the quarterback thing, I think, is really even with more of the bigger point.
As long as Winston is healthy, I think that this could be a wash. There's definitely potential for both of these guys to get you big games. Obviously, he's starting Saquon, Kamara, and then we have David Montgomery versus Aaron Jones. This is the first time I think you get a real advantage for Phil over here. Montgomery is just so hard to judge. He's gotten the workload a little bit more. Seems to be getting over that ankle injury. So I don't think you should bench him any, particularly.
And I think Barkley could score a lot of points here against Miami.
That's very possible. People do that against Miami.
A lot of people do that. And then you know what? Kamara's been a real disappointment as well.
Yeah,
especially when it comes to scoring touchdowns.
So he may be able to keep up with Kamara. That's a good point.
Yep.
And then we've got Edelman versus Galladay. This is another great matchup for Jameis Winston will be throwing the ball. Jameis Winston will be in the same game as Galladay. So if he's throwing the ball and racking the score up, Galladay's got a good chance. Tampa Bay's rush defense is good, but not their secondary.
Not their secondary.
So that's a good matchup there.
I give it to Galladay on that side.
What do you think about Diggs? Let's see. There's not that many decisions to be made in this matchup.
I think Diggs is a good one there. Thielen should be back, so the offense will be kind of opened up again. And Kirk Cousins has been one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the NFL the last 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So he's going to get some big plays in there. I think he could beat out Allen Robinson again. Cold weather. You brought it up earlier. I don't know how that's going to deal with it. No real big decisions there in the wide receiver. So I'm looking at their benches. It's pretty much who they got in the starting lineups, who they got.
Yeah, I mean, the only question mark might be Marlon Mack. He came back last week. He didn't re-aggravate that hand injury. I think he's probably set to get pretty close to his full workload next week. But he plays the Saints, and they have a really good rush defense. So it's basically he's making that decision probably between David Montgomery and Marlon Mack.
Yeah.
Where would you go there?
Montgomery.
Yeah.
I think Montgomery.
I just think the matchup's too good against Green Bay. Like I said, it's going to be cold. It's probably going to be running the ball.
Fumbles will be bad. They will run the ball, but the fumbles are going to be the issue with
in the cold.
hard rock ground.
Yeah.
That's going to cause some jarring of the ball.
I don't know. That's the spot I see where you could, really regret your decisions, Tim, is if Marlon Mack has himself a day.
Yeah, the tight end.
Because obviously Raheem Mostert last week had no problem running against the Saints.
He did not. I hate Mostert.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Mr. Tevin Coleman owner over here.
Oh, my goodness. So we moved down to the tight end spot. Kelsey wins it.
Yep.
That's no problem over there for Tim. Then I love watching this flex thing because is Jacobs going to be fully healthy for this game?
Yeah, so let's get into this a little bit here. I got a text from David here, and he said he was kind of like, what are you doing there? Picking up DeAndre Washington from all of us. So in our league, DeAndre Washington was on the waiver wire. I got kicked out of the playoffs, but I do have, something to play for here.
Yeah.
We've talked about that we're, me and Leroy will be duking it out for that higher draft pick.
Yeah, winner gets the higher draft.
Yeah, so I need a flex option, so I figured I'd pick him up. I'm not going to lie, there was a little bit in me that didn't want Phil to pick him up and
Stick to you guys.
and have him there. But it's, Jacobs is trending towards playing now. It wasn't looking good early on in the week.
Right.
They've said that the MRI came back negative, so he's nothing major going on there. But Gruden's kind of still made it murky. He still said, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Where they are, it looks like now they're completely out of the playoffs picture, right? They're out of there, save your franchise player.
Yeah, so he probably pivots to Will Fuller. And, that could be the difference in this game. If Jacobs doesn't play, that could be what kills Phil's team.
Yeah, choose Brandon Cooks or Will Fuller, which will probably go Will Fuller.
Yeah.
And we know Fuller is all about that deep ball.
Yeah, he's either going to get you, that long touchdown or you're going to have a real bad week.
It's playing Tennessee, and it's a must-win game for both teams there to try to win that division to get in the playoffs.
All right, so let's, wrap this whole thing up here, and let's do the our picks here. So we'll start with this one we're talking about already here. Tim and Phil, what's your pick? Who's going to win this game?
I pick Tim.
All right.
He's swinging for the fences with some of his guys, and Phil's dude, Jacobs, if he doesn't play, I feel like that could be the difference.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Who do you pick, Tim versus Phil?
I don't know. I think this one's going to be close.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think the other one will be, unfortunately, David. Sorry. This one I think will be pretty close. I think it's going to come down to that Jacobs thing. If Jacobs plays, which I kind of think he's going to play, then I think Phil has the edge here.
Yeah, I think the hope on Tim's side when it comes to if everyone kind of plays up to where it's supposed to be is a resurgence of Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Against a very, very easy matchup.
Mr. Disappointment himself, as he's nicknamed him.
Yes. He has some dumping in there. And again, I think the David versus Joe, the David versus Goliath. We're going with Goliath.
Yeah, I'm
Joe's
sorry,
squad
David.
is so good.
Quarterback's not fantastic, but Fitzpatrick, he can come out and put up some points. So
Yeah, Fitzpatrick don't care. He'll be slinging all day.
Exactly.
They got no running back in Miami.
No, they do not. They do not.
They are going to sling all day. So it's going to be a lot of fun watching these two matchups here. Are you going to watch football on Sunday, or are you on the boat?
So I'm not on the boat yet. I'll be at my cousin's house in Orlando.
Okay.
And so I'll be watching the games from there. And then, so I won't miss too much football. Thursday night, I'll be on the cruise, but besides that. And then I'll be going to the Miami-Cincinnati game. So if you're watching on TV, look for me. I'm sure I'll get on the Jumbotron.
Yeah, if you're one of the 200 people that watch a Miami game, you might
or one of the
him.
200 people that goes, so I probably have a better chance.
I know.
Right?
You'll get like tickets, and then you just like walk down.
Yeah.
Like 50
Tickets
rows.
were super cheap, by the way.
Oh, my goodness.
For the toilet bowl here.
Yeah, I was up in the nosebleed for the Vikings game. I took a deceptive picture where I was like further down watching them warm up.
Oh,
okay,
okay, yeah.
I'm way up there.
Yeah, Rachel saw the picture and she's like, whoa, he got some good seats there.
No, I did not. Well, then like the one buddy I went with, he told me like at the game, and maybe we didn't think it through, but his stepfather has season tickets like in the middle ring, and I was like,
oh, that'd have been a good dimension.
how many tickets you got? I think he's got. I was like, we bought tickets. We could have just borrowed it from him. I was like, what? So next time I know if I go to a Vikings game, I have to hit him up sooner. I'm like, he's not here. Oh,
Yeah.
well, it was he gave it to somebody else already. I was like, dang it.
All right, well, good luck to you, my league mates.
Yes.
May
the force be with you.
Who do you want to win the Super Bowl? Who's of those remaining?
David.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's time for the Reverend to reign.
Time for the Reverend to win it. Second one, I'd probably pick Joe because I stole it from him last year.
That's true. He does need,
I don't mind if any of them go in. I know some guys don't want to see Phil in there, but Phil's been like,
he's almost won it so many times.
I know, right? Like he earns it too. It's almost, there's no such thing like you're due, right? Our friend Jake Seeley says that all the time, but it's almost like you're due. You're there enough. There's got to be one time you just got to win it.
Yep.
Right. And then we loved him. So.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, guys. Sorry we didn't have two separate ones this week, but it was kind of a fun little mashup here. But we will see you guys. I don't know when.
We don't know when.
But we'll be back at some point. Don't leave us. Keep that subscribe button clicked.
Yes.
Don't unsubscribe.
Be ready.
Our feelings will be very hurt.
I would be crying.
He might actually.
I might cry a little bit. Tears.
All right. See you guys.
All right. Deuces, Tim.